That, what sort of, what can we help with? Suggestions from you, or questions? Biff?
Well, a new product line that would do us a favour is Bandai, the Gundam figure kits.
Mm-hmm.
There's nowhere in the UK at the moment there's a distributor for them. And I don't know if it's possible for you to contact them, offer your services if you've got the space, but there's a growing interest in that.
Yeah, you can buy them from the shop in Camden, so they are in the country. They've got their own shop around the Camden area, and it's merchandise is a big thing for us. Unfortunately we've lost Diamond Select. They did some pretty decent stuff. With Funko, Hasbro, all these people are still happy to work with us, and the relationships stayed the same. When it comes to Bandai and Japanese imports, there's a little bit of legislation that's a little bit tricky, and there's testing that may or may not be required for small parts. When it comes to kits, it's a little bit of a minefield at the minute. So yes, we'd love to. The answer is that it would need to have a 14 plus or an adult sticker on it, and in a way, we're not comfortable with putting that on ourselves until we've checked into the actual testing side of it. But yeah, that I agree. The prices that some of them go for and the market for it is really big. So we would like to, and we do deal with Bandai. We do deal with them. They have a UK distributor. Bandai UK are an official distributor.
Because we've been trying to contact them, I don't know if we've been given the wrong information, but when Glenn here was talking to them at an event earlier in the year, they said they didn't have a UK distributor. But now you're saying
there's a company called Bandai UK.
Yeah. But they huge quantities.
Well, yeah, but it's the same problem that you get, if you look at the Hasbro model as well. Hasbro have a UK arm and a US arm, but they don't offer the same product. There is very different products that they both offer. And internally they decide that, and I guess internally Bandai do. But again, it could well be that they're aware of the testing requirements, and it's something that at the minute that they're not looking at, or they're not aware of the market that is over here. Because the problem sometimes with that sort of thing is when there's a huge demand, from Bandai UK's point of view, that huge demand, coming from collector stores and 300, 500, 2,000 pieces, isn't necessarily the same as something that comes from Smiths or Entertainer, where it's 10 or 12,000 pieces. So, the collector market has sort of, over the years, has seeped into the mass market. I think that's fair to say, and it's the same with Funko Pops and Tesco's and things like that. It was only 2 years ago that we were asking Funko why they sold San Diego Pops into Tesco's instead of letting us have them. But this sort of thing happens, But it depends on where you're classing a big demand. To somebody like Bandai UK, it's different. But no, Ben's team includes, merchandise buyers, and I don't think, they'll mind me saying, there are certain merchandise orders that we've got in place with Diamond US, or AdPop, as it is, that we're not sure we're going to see. And the truth is that, if those relationships are going to fall by and they're not going to carry them on with AdPopular, then we're more than happy to talk to them directly. So there's quite a few different merchandise things that are very late at the minute, and there's a few of them that we're actually talking to literally this week as to buying direct, because they are. Ben said it. A lot of distributors, a lot of publishers, they're actually happy to sell to us directly, which is great. That's a relationship that we would love to have. A direct relationship with them helps them and helps us. But what it does do is it makes the job harder. Diamond, we're our one-stop shop. Hopefully, we're your one-stop shop. But putting that together is tricky. The same goes for graphic novels. That's a perfect example. I won't do a straw poll, but from what we're seeing for comics and graphic novels, 2025 has been a pretty good year. A lot of sales are up. The market itself is more buoyant than it's been for a long time, and that's on top of us not being able to source half as much stock as we used to be able to source. Because previously we would be able to use Diamond's consignment stock to supply ourselves every week. Of course, and for the last few months that's not been possible.
Don't mention
Yeah, we don't mention concern. But again, that's something that we're working with the publishers. And with their new distributors or suppliers in the States. But yeah, merch is another prime example of stuff that we want to grow. And we'll ask. Certainly. Is that